So let's take now an example on derivatives and integrals in physics. Something about kinematics. We already know that the velocity, it's the dx by dt, derivative of position. This means delta x, or let's write it step by step. If we cross multiply, then dx will be v dt. If I integrate both sides, you will get here the total displacement dx will be equal to the integral of v dt between some time 1 and some time 2. So those two relations are very important. If speed or velocity is the derivative of position, then displacement if velocity is the derivative of position, then position is the integral of velocity. You can understand it like that. They are opposite to each other. Now, keep in mind dx by dt. So if you have a position versus time graph, x versus time, then, or let's say, v versus time, keep in mind that the a, it's the dv by dt, which is the slope. And delta x is the integral of v dt between time 1 and t2. What is the integral? It is the area. So this is very important. The derivative is the slope. The derivative is the slope. And the integral is the area. Alright. So let's say I'm gonna draw the graph of the free fall. There is an object that you threw upward with an initial speed, v initial. I'm gonna give it a value, let's say, of 5 meters per second. It's gonna rise, reach maximum height, and then it's gonna return back. So the graph is gonna look something like that. That's the graph of free fall. This is v initial, it's 5. As the object goes up, its speed decreases. After some time, after 0.5 seconds, and this is 5 meters per second. After 0.5 seconds, it will reach the maximum height where the velocity is gonna be 0. After 0.5, the velocity is gonna increase in magnitude, but in the negative direction because the object will be falling down. So, if the question was to find the acceleration, simply the acceleration is the slope because it's dv by dt. So we find the slope, so acceleration, since it is dv by dt, and remember derivative, keep in mind derivative means slope, integral means area. So dv by dt means slope in the velocity versus time because it's dv by dt means velocity versus time. So take 2 points, you will get 0 minus 5 over 0.5 minus 0, and the answer will be minus 10 meter per second squared, and that's the free fall acceleration, which we already know, minus a g. If the question was to find the displacement, or how high the object rise, how high did the object rise, we already know that the time needed to reach the maximum height is the 0.5 seconds because the velocity will be 0 in that case. It's the maximum height. So to find the displacement from the graph, again, displacement, we already know it's the integral of v dt. Instead of delta x, I will write now delta y because it's a vertical displacement. So it's the integral from time 0 till time 0.5 of the velocity times dt. And what's the integral? Again, it's the area. So we need to find this area here under the line from 0 to 0.05. What's the area of this one? The area, that's a triangle. So the area, it's half the base that's the base, 0.5, and multiplied by the height, that's the height, which is 5. So the answer will be 2.5 multiplied by 0.5, we do it step by step, and you have 25, and you have, so it's gonna be 1.25 meters, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 1.25 meters. So that will be the displacement. So delta y will be 1.25 meters. It's gonna rise upwards 1.25 meters.